Hey gang, welcome back to my home office. Probably shouldn't do these on the fly, but that's how I do everything. So in this video, I've got my Mac Mini from the shop here at the house, hooked up on the network. Going to be using cheap, well not cheap, I got it at Walmart clearance aisle. It's a 500 gig for it's like 20 bucks. So that's what I use to transport back and forth. But before I get into all that, going through and making all the videos, which I'm trying to do a better job of being on a schedule for videos. In fact, what monitor am I looking at? I've got one uploading right now. Trying to alternate the Geek and the locksmithing at various times of the week. But I actually have videos scheduled for release, so the next couple weeks are taken care of. This is the one uploading right now, so I'm trying to do better. But let's get that out of the way. One of the things I mentioned in one of the videos is you don't want to give your VM the same amount of resources as your physical machine, and you don't. You want there to be a buffer. If your physical computer only has 8 gig, you don't want to give your virtual machine 8 gigs of memory. If it's got 100 gig or a 1 terabyte hard drive, you don't want to give your virtual machine the exact same. There's got to be some resources or some buffer. But one thing I didn't make clear is, and I don't have any virtual machine running, your virtual machine, if you set it up with the defaults and everything, if you give it 4 gigs of memory, it's not going to consume that whole 4 gigs of memory the entire time. It's just like your physical machine. This physical box has 8 gigs, and right now we are using 2.6. 8 gig, well, 7.8, it's sharing some video. Some memory with video because I don't have a separate video card in that machine anymore. So this machine has 8 gigs, the physical. The virtual machine has 4 gigs. It maxes out at 4. It doesn't always use 4. Like my Mac Mini, like I said, it was a 2014 or 2018. It just happened to be a year that Apple made it to where the memory was soldered in, which takes me back to my first IBM computer in 1991. It was a 286. Memory had to be soldered in. Apple quickly went away from that and figured out other ways to screw you on having to go to the Genius Bar or whatever to get upsold a new computer. I digress. So same with the hard drive. If you give it 500 gigs, which we gave Foobar, what? We increased that to 60 gig. So if we come in here and look at, yeah, that CD, that DVD is still stuck in the drive. I haven't taken the computer apart. And this may be a longer video because it's going to be a lot of steps. I hope it's entertaining. But VM, Foobar, if we look at all the files, it's 26.8 gig. That's because Windows 10 and installing updates and everything was about 25 gig. But the hard drive is 60 gig, so it's actually only consumed 28.8 gig of space out of that 60 gig. So you can provision them in a way to where when you make it a 50-60 gig hard drive, it consumes all of it immediately. When you're dealing with in an IT or an enterprise environment, you don't do that. You thin provision, meaning it's only going to take up what it's actually using, and that's what we're doing here, thin provisioning. Because when you're in an enterprise environment, you do this game of Jenga before you have to add more hardware to deal with, or add more drive space, or more CPUs, or more memory, or even more video cards. And yes, you can put a video card in a virtual physical host and map that to VMs. AI tends to use that a lot. Video editing uses it. So, sidetrack, sorry. So, what we're going to do, and for my Apple products, I use VNC. I don't remember what VNC stands for. 224, that is my Mac. And this is going to be really blown up because I've got the video set for the TV at the shop. It's a whole pain in the ass to get that resolution to work right, so I don't change it when I bring it back. It doesn't auto-detect and change because I have it hard-coded. Cannot talk and put in a password at the same time. Okay. So what I normally do, because my Mac is so thin on resources, because it's fixed amount of physical RAM I can have in it, I do run that VM pretty close to the physical memory. But it makes modifying, updating, or anything like that a pain in the butt. So normally I put the drive into the Mac, which I'll do now. But, well, maybe if I can find it. There we go. Okay, so this isn't going to be a tutorial on Mac OS. If you don't need to learn it, I wouldn't bother. Finder is the equivalent of Windows Explorer. So the first thing I'm going to do is, yeah, well, here's some older ones I did. Let me, different keyboard combinations, or buttons do different things on a Mac. Let's move that to trash. There we go. Jenkins locks. Okay, I don't know what that is. Oh, yeah, that's a Frame on Blue Dog something. So what I want to do is now open another Finder window. In Windows, you would just be copying it from Windows Explorer onto your drive. Nope, new Finder window. There we go. I need to remember where this install on my Mac. I may have to pause this for a second. It's not apps, not movies. Users. VirtualBox, there we go. So now this, let me fire it up just to make sure. Oh, I forgot, where do I see in here where... Pretty sure if I had a snapshot, it would be showing right now. The Mac OS VirtualBox is a little different. I probably need to update it. But what we're going to do is just take this. Well, first let's close the Oracle box completely out. Okay, it's already closed. Good deal. A lot of time with Mac, when you close something, it doesn't really close. Alright, so let's pause this for a second while it copies. Okay, and I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so now it's on our external drive, and Mac OS will pitch a fit if you don't eject the drive. So that's what we're going to do. Now plug it into our Windows machine. And some of you may be asking why I do this. The VMs I do, I think I explained in the first one, I blow away my physical windows a lot because so much clutter and junk. And when you buy generic code, the installable application, you do get 3 licenses. So I could install it in 3 computers and just copy the projects back and forth. This, I want it to be identical both sides. And I use some complicated scripting over the interwebs to send it to my shop. I don't want to show that script because it has passwords. Here's an example of how I back up just some of my home computer stuff. Nope. Yeah, let's go here. So I think I showed this. This is all in my physical desktop, my main desktop, not the one I'm using for demonstration. Here's network drives. This drive here, there's a rule of data protection, rule of thumb. You want your data in 3 places. Where it's live, where you're actually using it, backed up to a second device on site, so if someone deletes a folder, file, whatever, you can quickly copy it and restore it. And then the third one is you want it off-site. So these Seagate drives, I actually alternate. This one actually shows 2 right now because this was an 8 terabyte drive that I got from Costco about 4 years ago. The hard drive was going out in it. It's actually this one. So I tore the enclosure apart, found a 14 terabyte drive on Newegg on sale, got it in, and then I've cloned the iDrive, which is over here, in an external dock to this machine. So I increased, I added 5.5 terabyte once everything's formatted. Because I run 2 businesses, I do locksmithing, I do eBay, I do a ton of IT work for the community. I also do the locksmithing stuff. So all this important information on top of YouTube videos and all that stuff, I want to have copies in case inevitably when it happens one of these drives is going to fail. So if I've got it in multiple locations, I alternate. I've got an identical drive that I've upgraded to a 14 terabyte hard drive to, and I alternate those. I keep one at the shop. Once a month I'll swap them, so that way not once a month, once a week, sorry. So when I go to work on the weekends, I grab one drive, swap them out, and that way my data is always residing in 2 places in case everything, fire, hurricane, tornado, what have you, destroys it. I've got that data somewhere. And that's kind of why I clone the VM. Well, not clone the VMs, I copy them over, but trying to do more of a realistic, you guys aren't going to go super geek like I am. At least I hope you don't. So yeah, let's get rid of that script. Oh. So now we can minimize this. If we go to T7, Jenkins locks. Don't worry about that guy. It's a hidden file, but it's from copying from a Mac. So let's go to C. This is going to be another pause while all this copies. But what I would do, say foobar here is the copies of my Jenkins Locks computer that I have here. So what I would do is come in here and select remove, I would remove only. And then what I would do is come in and rename this folder 9924. So that way, if something completely dorks up, my data is in 2 spots now. I can quickly delete the one I'm copying over, rename this back, and re-add it. Yeah. So let's pause because it's going to take a few minutes. It's like 70 gig. So we'll be back in a second. Okay, we're just about done copying. And kind of doing this process, it's also a way to, if you just want one VM on one site, this is still a good way to back it up. Okay, so now that's there, I'm going to come back into VirtualBox, Machine, and go to Add. And let's see if I fall flat on my face this time. So we're going to go with the VBox, Open. Then we're going to go into Settings, Network. See, it switched. So bridged, I'm actually going to disconnect the cable. Actually, no, I can't. And fingers crossed, I don't have any screw-ups. We're going to start it up here. See, when you actually plan and do things when you're not hungry. Not that I planned this video, I was just, it's Monday, I got home from the IT job, don't have any locksmith jobs tonight. Editing a lot of videos. It's like, hey, let's do it. Let's finish this series off. Okay. So this is one that's, the Windows is activated with the license assigned to my Microsoft account. So I've got the pin set up. Okay. Yes. So I need to get the, well, first let's do, let's see how bad this is going to be. Because when it's sitting at the shop, I don't have the best internet there, so I don't do updates on it. And since we installed the latest version of VirtualBox on here, it's wanting us to update the guest additions. I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm going to cancel this out because that's not what we're here for. I'm not mapping my network drives. So what I'm actually going to do is back up a minute, because I'm getting ready to make a change. So should have wrote myself some notes. So we validated that just copying it over without a snapshot on it works. So that means I probably need to also update the Oracle box on my Mac. So we're getting ready to make a change. Change could be good, could be bad. But, where is it on this new version? Snapshots. There we go. So if you remember, the other one had a Xtool update. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a snapshot. We're going to give it a name so we know what it was for. G-code update. Give it a date. This is only something meaningful to you. Okay, so good. So now, let's kick it off again. And that way, if the install goes bad, if you see this G-code 22 reinstall, the virtual machine I had corrupted. So I didn't have a proper backup. So I had to clone a drive, fix it, burn through another one of my G-code serial numbers, which was fine because I was only using 2 out of 3 at that point. So let's go. Yeah, I just wish this was a little bit more separation. There we go. I like to have the buffer because if you have them stacked over top of each other, I have accidentally shut down a server because I was trying to restart my machine. Okay, we're not going to worry about that. So we need to get the G-code software, which when you purchase, you get an email with a link to download it. Due to increasing email security, the first email I got from Philip Freeman had no link, no nothing. It actually, in fact, the email didn't arrive because it had a URL with a .exe, an executable file, and email filter stripped that right out. So Phil had to send it to me another way. So let's go. But when you do get that link, make sure you download the software quickly because the link expires. It should be G-code. Oh, setup 24. Yep. Just going to copy this over. I probably need to do some cleanup on this machine, on the image. Yeah, I have to figure out what to do about the serial numbers so you guys don't see my serial numbers. So we've copied it over from the network or downloaded it. Since I copied it from another machine, I need to come in here and unblock it. Okay. So this should install right over the top of it. You don't have to remove the previous version. I agree. I trust Phil. Yep. Might be a little speed up here. It's actually going pretty quickly. So as you can see, I've done this a few times. I've got setup 21. So when I first bought my framing, you get a copy of the generic code. And like 2 days after my machine arrived, version 22 came out. So I reached out, and again, Phil was great. I'm like, hey, you know, I just bought this. Do I need to pay for an upgrade? He's like, you know what? Here's a link. Here's your new serial numbers. Thanks. We're already approaching 24 minutes. I guess I added a support icon. Install. Maybe this is something new. Dismiss. Whoa. Gotta remember how. Okay, so let's go. I don't care about my phone number. It's, oh, what did I do? code. I may have to do a little bit of blurring information here. I don't know if... Hey! Wait, oh, don't clear. Now licensed to run this program. Well, yes, I would like to import everything. I'm not sure. We can do it one way. Okay. Oh, you know what? I was getting confused with the arrow key. Arrow key is one of the big ones I do to keep this back and forth because I have so many projects saved. I'm just using generic code because I happen to need to update it. Okay, so everything looks good. Not sure what this is. Oh, Fix Me IT. That is a, okay, that's like a team viewer or some other. Hopefully I never need to get a hold of support, but... So, now that it's saved, everything looks good. Can actually shut this down, and you do Windows updates and any other updates you need to. We're going to shut it down, and now we're going to do the reverse of what we just did. So in here, oh, you know what? Make sure you're in the right drive, you idiot. I got a fly messing with me. It's been cool here the last week or so, so we've been opening windows and doors. And now we got flies everywhere. Yep, shut down anyways. Now it's shut down. We're good with that. If something blew up and we needed to go back and restore, we could come here and it'll take everything that we changed since this was created and just wipe it out. This is basically a Delta snapshot. But I don't want to do that because we just used a license key. So what we're going to do is delete. We're happy with it. Damn fly. Sandworms, alright? Seems timely with Beetlejuice just coming out. Oh. So we could fire this back up and generic code would be right there. But we don't need to because we're getting ready to copy it and install it on another machine. So there's going to be some more copy pause. Let me pause here and be back in just 3.5 minutes-ish. Okay, that just completed, so now we're going to pull it out of here. Not drop my drive. There we go. Okay. So this I'm going to rename. We're back on the Mac. I'm going to rename this. How do I do this on a Mac again? There we go. -9-24. good enough. It's a different name. So come over here. Now we're going to copy this over. And about 3 minutes again. So let me pause. And we'll be back in about 2 minutes now. I'm still going to pause. Okay, and that's just finishing up. So it's going to be kind of a rinse and repeat of what we did when we copied it to the Windows machine. Oh. So I have very limited internet at the shop, so I do occasionally bring the Mac home, and it's one of the reasons why I take the VM. I use the VM more in the shop than the Mac. The Mac I just use for if I'm doing like eBay labels or whatever, so I'm just using the web. I don't use applications on it. So sure enough, I bet this is a Mac update. Yep. That'll be done later. So anywho, let's fire up VirtualBox. Inaccessible. Yeah, we renamed the drive, so we're going to remove it. Yep. Now we're going to re-add it. Well, add the updated one. We're going to go to the new one we just copied over. We're going to go to that VBox. Can't open machine. Uh-oh. Picked the wrong file. My mistake. So if we come here and go to snapshots, there's no snapshots. We'll come in here and edit settings because we want to make sure it's got the right network adapter since this is a different physical machine. It's bridged. Yep. So that's good. And you can either click start or I just usually double click on the name. This is going to be horribly scaled. Been trying to keep these videos 30 to 40 minutes. haven't always succeeded. But while this is going, let's check on. Alright, no copyright issues. So in the past, in some of the pinning videos, I've used some screenshots that I got flagged for copyrighted information. But it says the owner of the copyright allows it to be used, so no harm, no foul. We're going to actually schedule this. Just keeping you guys in with realness. What is... So let's go on September 18th. Let's go to 25th. Get you guys bright and early. Just taking you along for the full experience here. Time zone local, yep. Oh no, this is not the 25th, this is... So the 8th, what's... Ah, I'm getting my dates confused. 8th, 15th. 15th, my bad. Is it? Yeah. Sorry, sidetracked. So on the 15th, you guys will see that video, but this video will probably come out after that video, so it's a vicious cycle. Good God, the flies. Took my bath on Saturday like I normally do. Nope, we don't want to restore, don't want to restore. So here we are on the Mac, generic code 24. So it's already an update to that. Wow, I guess I should have checked it on the other one. I'm going to leave that as is for the moment, but so there you go. That's kind of the end of the journey on this. Started off in the first video kind of explaining, outlining what a virtual machine is. It's just an application. But it's an application that presents you a working Windows, Mac OS. Again, don't go down the Mac OS rabbit hole. Because I do have those. And it is a pain in the butt. Catalina. Oops. That's a special VM I have set up for a lot of these call scammers, where they want you to log into your bank account and all that. A little special treat I got for them. But it's an application. It's becomes now a set of files that can be backed up to an external drive, to the cloud, to wherever you need. And it can be independent of your physical hardware. If your machine is running Mac operating system, as this physical machine is, you can run a Windows device. If you're running a Windows 7, a Windows 8, a Windows 10 physical computer, you can run Windows 11. For me, it helps silos things I need to do. Just because, tomorrow I may figure out my C drive on my desktop is too small and I need to upgrade it to a 2 terabyte. And I'm not going to go through the process of cloning that. It's a good time to start over, put a new drive in, reload Windows 10. All my VMs are on separate hard drives. So I just reinstall my Windows, reinstall Oracle VirtualBox, add those VMs back in, start it up, and I'm back up. I've got one virtual machine on my physical desktop here that are all my licensed software. My Adobe Pro, I can't think of them right now, but it's stuff I don't want to have to go through the hassle of retrieving a serial number, moving the serial number from one computer to the other, because everything's web-based now. Activation. Just if I need to edit a PDF, I just fire that VM up, go in, make the changes, save it down, and turn the VM off, and it gets backed up. That's why I have so many large hard drives in my desktop. What the hell is this? I don't want to hear politics. I don't want to hear... What is going on? Okay. So, that happened. Yeah, I'm not a political guy. But it gives me a method of having the same data in two places, even though I've got to do a little bit of work like this. Like I said, my setup's way more complicated. Just as an example, this is my home network. If I can proceed. Frank's Interweb. So I don't have the Wi-Fi router that comes. I've actually got enterprise business grade. One box controller, one box router that only hooks to the fiber modem. And then I have, let's see if I can stretch this up. Nope, that ain't gonna work. I've got access points that I can beamform and do all this crazy stuff with, because I'm a geek. I overdo things. But losing my train of thought here. We set up a VM, or we kind of went over what a VM is, what are some of the advantages, disadvantages. I think we did. How to set up a Windows 10 VM, how to work with it, and then taking from one machine, copying over, updating it. And I could have done all the updates from the Mac. It's just the Mac's kind of slow. And I had all the software downloaded on my desktop. But update it, take a snapshot in case we screw up, because you guys know I do that a lot. Update it, validate it, copy it back over to the first computer, turn it on, start up, and Bob's your uncle. So I know this probably isn't everyone who comes to a locksmithing channel's cup of tea, but in this day and age, there's so much software, technology. I mean, if you look at updating an X tool, I don't know if I should have that on here somewhere. But my the X tool, X horse, my little BVDI Max tool. That's got a Bluetooth DB2 connector that when I first got it, I couldn't update it. I had to get support on it. They walked me through stuff that walked me through a bunch of screens in Chinese, and it had to be my best guess on how to fix it. And that's something that, as someone who's a dinosaur in the IT field, I struggled to get it to work. And at one point I had a video on it and lost it. But, if there's things, it's one of the great things I've found in the locksmithing community is people love sharing information. I love making the content. I love sharing knowledge. And if out of a 30-minute video, one person gets a 30-second or a 5-second or a 10-second thing that helps them out, it's worth it. And I'm prattling on at 42 minutes now. So I'm going to stop this video, going to export it, going to upload it, and get it scheduled for, looks like the weekend after, or the week after September 18th. So that would be, the 25th? Hopefully that works out. But absolutely, if you guys have any questions, hang-ups, problems, or something not related to this, something other computer technology-wise, it's one of the reasons I made this channel is one, as kind of a video diary for myself, so I can go back and not remake some of the mistakes I made along the way, but chart my progress. This month, I've had a locksmith business for 4 years now. 3.5 years I've had a storefront. And I've had to utilize more technology in doing locksmithing stuff because I don't have the experience. So hit me up. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. If your one computer that you run everything off for your shop starts having problems, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help. Or maybe show you a better way of doing something, or a way I would suggest doing it. Not saying every way I do is the best. I find a path that works for me, and I'd be more than happy to help anyone find a path that works for them. If you got questions about some of the software I use, maybe you don't want to fork out $200 for the installed G-code application, and you want to use the online, but you want to know what the difference is, and maybe I do a video on that as the next in this Geek series. I kind of wing these, if you can't tell. I wing these more than my locksmithing videos. Just because IT is so ingrained in me. But I'm done babbling. If you guys need help, reach out to me. I'm going to edit this video and get it uploaded. And hopefully it's helped one of you. Or it just answered a question. If nothing else, that's a victory too. But appreciate you guys hanging out with me, listening to my babble and some of my screw-ups as always. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I will catch you next time.